Hey girlfriends, and welcome back to Girlfriends in Grace. Today's episode is real, no filters, no pretending. I'm talking with Andrea, a warrior who's been walking through a battle that has been tested, her faith, her body, and her strength. Her story is painful, beautiful, and full of God showing up in the cracks. If you're in a hard season, this one's for you. Hey Andrea, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I am 35, married, been with my husband for 14 years, married for 8. And I have multiple autoimmune diseases.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so can you give us a little insight to what you have?
When I hit 29, my body just kind of shut down, and it was like nobody had answers. I kept going to tests. They were testing me one test after another. Some were way more painful, and it was hard because I was like, I'm only 29. I'm not even 30, right?
Yeah.
And then it was just one medication after another. My life altered from being the older sister, technically the other parent, to be able to not even depend on my own body, and that wasn't easy for me.
And so what kind of autoimmune do you have?
So I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. I have PCOS. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I have lupus. I have you name it.
Wow.
So it definitely shifted who I was, or I thought I was, at that moment, if that makes sense.
Right. And so how old were you when you first found out?
The first one was my PCOS. That was when I was 26. And they were like, well, you just need to lose weight. And I'm like, okay. That didn't help.
Of course. Everything else is like, oh, need to lose weight.
Yeah, you need to lose weight. Just lose weight. You'll be fine.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't just that. It was so much more. And I had to learn that, like, the medical statistics did not always apply to me. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that it's a it's a huge, like, it's very narrow compared to, like, you know, there's different cultures, there's different people, everybody's body is different, and the testing that they have and the medication that's provided to us is just kind of a big stretch. It's not one-on-one, and so that was really hard for me to learn, especially being a newlywed and then told that I wasn't going to be able to have my own kids, and it's just been a lot of back and forth.
Right. Because as somebody that has an autoimmune disease, you talk to doctors and they think, oh, no, that's not what it is here. Yeah. Because none of the tests show up saying anything like that.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So how long did it take for them to finally realize that you weren't just, saying that this is what's going on, and it really was going on?
It was a lot of testing. My testing started in 2019, so I was 29 at the time. Then COVID hit. Okay, so when I tell you, it was like isolation and then medical testing and no answers.
Right.
And in the process of all of that, it was going through the pain of having multiple miscarriages. So, like, not just the physical health, but the mental health.
Right.
The pain of it, of like, okay, what happened? What did I do wrong? What did I do? What am I paying for? So, being so young, it was hard. It was hard, and then finally 2021 came, and they said that the reasoning for my miscarriages was because I had endometrial hyperplasia with atypia, which started off precancerous, and then now that I've made it up here to the new providers that see me, they were like, they never gave you a certain medication. They gave you the knockoff version of it. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it just progressed, and it made matters worse. And then I went from isolation of COVID, and then 2021 hit, because then I got cancer. And it was like, well, you can save it. You can, you don't have to go through this if we take your uterus out. And I was like, but I don't have any kids. And it's something that I've always knew that I wanted.
Right.
Was to be a mom. And so it's been a battle that I've had to, like I have the faith to know I was like, no, God's gonna do it. But did I really hold, like, now where I'm at, like, I've been able to, after so many years, boldly look at my doctor and say, no, you can't have my uterus. You need to find another option.
Right.
Because I've been in a position where a lot of things have happened, a lot of things have been presented to me, and I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that everything happens for a reason. Even people who have crossed my path, people who have been in and out of my life, I believe that they had a purpose to be in my life, because everybody that I've had in my life since I was little, due to life, is what we'll call it, God revealed to me, look, I know that it was supposed to be a horrible situation, but I surrounded you with people who genuinely loved you.
Yeah.
And that's where now I'm like, no. And I feel I've been able to identify that. Like, for me in my walk and my faith, it was never a question whether Jesus came and died on the cross for me. It was never even a question or a doubt in my mind. It was, I didn't have that relationship
With him.
where I could, if I really felt hurt, I could come to him.
Right. And that was going to be my next question. Girl, you're getting ahead of yourself. I was going to ask you, in what ways has God used your pain for your purpose?
It's revealing. Like, I asked him, because when we finally, I had to move from California up to the mountain, and I had nobody up here. He literally took me to the mountaintop and isolated me while I was going through all these health situations, and then it turned into mental health situations, and I got to a point where I was like, I refuse to believe that God continues to wake me up just to wait and die.
Right.
I said, that's not possible. From who I know of who God is, there's no way that that's his purpose for me.
Right.
And at that point, I started just praying and just like, okay, I know I'm not crazy. I know if I'm spiraling, then sometimes I can't, it's out of my control because of the hormones that they give me. But then God just started answering me. And then he reminded me of a gift that he instilled in me since I was a little girl. And he just started to talk to me, because I dream things that later, the easiest way I was able to describe it was like, oh, I had like a deja vu, but it wasn't, because these dreams were so vivid and so real. And finally I said, show me it's you, and he did. Right. He revealed himself. He's like, remember when this happened? You could have been kidnapped. You could have been murdered. You could have been, but no, you were safe. I kept you safe.
Right. And then you talk about, coming up to the mountains, and yes, he's isolated you. Maybe it was for a fact that he needed to be with you and him alone.
Yeah,
so that you could fully go with your faithful journey with God, and maybe that's the reason why.
Yeah. Now looking at it on the other end, yes, I totally agree. But in that moment, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
But I absolutely. That's why, like, even now, like, my husband and I were praying about it. Like, I want to find a home church. Like, we have to find a home church. And now, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been almost 5-6 months that we've been at church, Right,
yeah.
And it's been like an absolutely awesome feeling. And when you really start to realize, at least for me, like, just the simple things, like, I could be like, okay, God, give me a sign, and he'll answer in the most random way, right? And like, even my husband and I will like look at each other and we just chuckle, like, okay, you're funny. Like,
but before you found your faith and became strong with your walk with God, did you ever see those little signs that he would do? Because I know personally, I'm like, I never seen it all, because I didn't want to believe in God. I didn't want to believe that he could help us through the good things and the bad things.
It was more of, like I said, it wasn't that I didn't believe. Mm-hmm. It was that I didn't think, like nobody wanted to hear my problems. Like, do you really care? Like, you got bigger problems. There's, kids being murdered. There's wars. Like, why are you going to worry about me? Right?
Because you're his child.
In that moment, I didn't comprehend
Okay.
the entire process,
yeah.
even though I had already been baptized for a couple years. Like, I got baptized, I was really close in my faith, in my church, I was really committed, and then I became astray because I got busy with work. And then God was like, oh, you're too busy to come back to me. And after I lost that job, and I left that job that consumed my life,
Right.
I started to get sick. And that's why now when I look at it, I know for a fact that God was like, oh, you think your job is more important than me? What are you going to do when you can't even get off that couch? Who are you going to look for? You're going to look for me.
Right.
And that was when I just started praying, and then I started learning. A lot came up to a lot. The more I prayed, it just came very present to me that God showed me and explained to me generational curses and how important they are.
Right.
And then started putting puzzles with things that I had learned when I was younger from my family.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh. So.
And that's another my next question was going to be, what does grace look like for you in your daily routine?
For me, I've always thought, like, well, I'm not a bad person. I'm not malicious. I don't do things maliciously. But that doesn't change that. Sometimes I have moments that I snap. And now I'm trying to be more aware of my reactions. Okay. And instead of just being reactive, I bite my tongue, and in a sense, right? And I have to learn to, and I've learned to, like, God has taught me, like, hey, what's going on? Like, I'll give you a simple example. We were down in the valley in Phoenix, and I get so anxious with the traffic.
Right.
And people got road rage up, you know. And so we were down there, and this guy just comes flying past us and was going to run us off the trail. And I was like, what just happened? And then I looked at him, and I was so mad, and I flipped him off, right? And instantly, I just felt it. And God was like, what just happened? He's already down the road. Right. You're not, he has no care in mind about you, but you let him alter your character, who I want you to be in the heat of the moment.
Right.
And I was like, but it was in a way where, like, it wasn't like, what are you doing? We've been working on this. Yeah. It was just so loving and like, what happened?
Right. Because we're only human, right?
Yes.
And we try so hard to be more Christ-like.
That's why it says we gotta die to our flesh daily, right? Like, it's not something that, like, it took me 30 plus years to be who I am and pick up these bad habits, right? That now it's like, okay, no, I have to take on that responsibility. And I feel like, yes, I don't have children of my own, but he's blessed me and my husband with beautiful nieces and nephews, that now that I have my nephew with us all the time, like, do I want to instill that in him when he's with me?
Right.
I want to set that example and show him, look, it could be better. Like, I know things are frustrating. Like, there's different ways, right? And that was another thing, like, God showed me when he was like, look, that's how I see you.
Right. Yes.
He revealed that to me. He was like, the way you see him and the way you want to protect him and you want the right things for him, that's how I see you. So yes, I might not have my child yet, but he's using those kids in my life to reveal not just to me, but to my husband.
Right. Oh my God, that is so powerful to say. You know, that just saying that you are God's child, and then that you're trying to set an example already. Yeah. I pray to God that you do get to experience motherhood. And I just wanted to ask you, though, too, on top of, you know, having to go through all of your miscarriages, and, you know, how do you deal, like, what would you say to the woman listening right now who feels exhausted, who feels discouraged or unseen in her chronic health battle? Like, what would you say to her, or, you know, or the woman that has lost a child through miscarriage?
It's one thing. So I've had different experiences with miscarriage. One where I knew I was pregnant, and then one when I didn't know I was pregnant. And the one that, not that one mattered more than most, but the one that was real impactful for me in my life and in my marriage, because my marriage is my life, right? We become one flesh. So how it affected both of us was when we knew that I was pregnant. And it was that excitement and that joy, and then for it to just be gone and nobody have those answers, I was angry.
Right.
I was angry, and I was angry for a long time, like I said. And then finally, like, my husband sat me down and he's like, you have the right to be upset.
Yeah.
But when we realized, like, it doesn't matter if they're our kids, they're not ours,
Right.
right? They're his, and at the right time, he will give us our child, right? And so for someone to go back into those moments, just know that, like, even if it's very dark, you have that. I had that strength to, like, know, just that mustard seed sat, right? Like, don't lose faith in me. Like, I got you. Just don't lose faith in me. And it was hard because I was mad. I was really mad. Like, why should I trust you if you keep allowing me to go through this?
Right.
Like, what did I do? And at that point, it was like, no. It took a lot of crying. It took a lot of, and then it was hard because, like, I'm Hispanic, and what is one of those things? You ain't got no kids?
Yeah, right.
You ain't got no kids yet? Are you sure you don't have 10 hiding somewhere? Like, that's not funny.
Yeah.
It's not funny. You don't know how hurtful that is.
Yeah.
So if you're going through that, all I can tell you is that even though you might feel like you're not loved or you're being criticized, because regardless, I'm a woman, and as a woman you feel like I can't even do the one thing I'm supposed to do. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a huge lie. And the more, because I have been able to see how valuable I am being or not being a mother. My maternal instinct allows me to love on people unconditionally. And God's like, that's the heart that I gave you.
Right.
And when I said and he showed me, like, to be fruitful didn't necessarily mean just to have children.
Well, I can tell. Like, I know that we haven't known each other for a long time, but she just fed us. You like, just even with my son too. Like, and I think just in general, you have that maternal heart. So whether you have children of your own or it's your nieces and nephews, I still feel that love that you just that you have for everybody, and that's amazing, because most people would have already swallowed that and fell into a hole and just didn't want to get out of it. But look at you, like you get up every day and you do what you need to do to get done.
And I'm just, like I said, more than anything, like, I'm grateful because I have people that's where God has shown me, like, I know you're hurting and I know that you feel heartbroken and devastated and you feel like a failure. He's like, but I promise you, like, I love you. And he's made sure to always, regardless of what I went through in my life, like, as a child, I always knew I had someone that loved me. Someone that genuinely cared.
Right.
Even if it was for a little bit, even if it was for a conversation, even if it was for that moment. I recently, about 2 months ago, spiraled mentally, and I remember I prayed to God that I was looking for a specific sister at the church, and I didn't see her, so I didn't think she was, and I was like, okay, well, and then I prayed for the other one, and they call up to the end of the service, and they're like, oh, we have our people from the church that can pray for you.
Right.
I literally looked to the left, and she was standing right there.
Oh, how amazing.
And as soon as I saw her, she was just like, she just opened her arms and I bawled like a baby.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But I know that was God. Like, I got you.
Yeah.
I was able to just physically cry it out. It's one thing when you cry out to the Lord and you're, but to just physically feel the embrace, it was one of those things that he knew that I needed.
Right.
I really needed it, and that's how I know, like, every day, like, I have to die to my flesh, like, and really try to continue, like, even if people because back in the day, people look at you crazy and you're like, what's your problem? Now I'm like, look, you're probably having a bad day.
Yeah.
It allows me to put myself in a position where I'm like, I can't just be so responsive. Right. I can't just be so reactive. Like, I need to realize, like, people are going through things, like, sometimes I'm not, like, now I've learned, and I'll be like, look, I woke up and I don't feel good. Like, I'm like, this is your caution tape. I'm letting you guys know, right? Like, I'm learning to be a little bit more vocal too, so that the people that are around me know, like, if I do say something that's left field, like, it's non-intentional. Like, I would never maliciously hurt or want to hurt someone's feelings. or someone in general.
Right.
And that's one thing that God was like, what, we went through a flashback series is what I want to call it. And he was like, what happened to the little girl that would stop playing and pray when she would hear an ambulance? And I was like, ooh, right? Like,
yeah.
When did that stop? You want me to be there, and I'm always there, but when did that stop? Why did it stop?
Right.
You wanted to be a part of this world and this society and be accepted. And I had an issue with acceptance because, just to break it down very simple, the moment my mom found out I was a girl, typical machismo Hispanic man, there's no way she's your daughter. We all have boys. And I want to say that I was unwanted by my own father before I was even born, just because I was a girl.
Right. Wow.
Right. And it took being in a meeting for my mother to have the gentleman, the elder man that was there doing the interview, and he looked at me and he said, I'm going to tell you right now, your father is an idiot. I have a son and 2 daughters, and my daughters love me immensely. He said, and you didn't lose out. He lost out on having you as a daughter. And in that moment, complete stranger, had no idea what I was talking to with God, and that's what he told me.
Right.
Can nobody tell me that God doesn't listen?
Oh, he does.
Because he's revealed it to me.
Even if we want him to listen, even if we think that he's not listening, and even if we don't want to listen, he's still talking.
Yeah,
and that's the reason why I wanted to have you on, is because I know that you battle daily with the pain. How do you, what does your day look like? How do you deal with that pain when it hits you?
Honestly, I've learned to recently that the best way for me to shut the negative noise out is I make God louder.
Well,
I will turn the speakers up as loud as I have to, and whether my mom is here, my husband's home, or my nephew's with us at that moment, they know that I'm going through something, and they're like, nope, he needs to overflow here right now, because I've learned that I have to, especially with my mental health, if I don't shut it down in that moment, it's going to pierce and keep piercing, and he's just going to try to make his way into my mind, and then I seclude myself.
Right.
And then in that point, I'm like, how am I fulfilling my purpose? And isn't that what everybody wants, is to know their purpose on this earth?
Right. Exactly.
Right? And so at that point, I'm like, no, and I'm learning little by little. I'm very blessed that, my husband is a good teacher, and he can explain things to me. That's his gift. So he can explain it to me in a way that I understand it. And we, when I have certain questions, he'll just be like, oh, it's this. And, unless I ask for more details, we just kind of let it be. But God has showed me, just continue to put me first.
Right.
Just remember, I'm first. And I'll take care of it.
And it's hard day to day, living day to day. Even though we try to follow, I don't know about you, but even though I try to follow the ways that I'm supposed to set the example, it's still hard, because I feel like the more you look towards God, the devil wants to get in and try to erase all of that.
Yeah. And that was one of the things, I'm very animated when you get to know me. Right. And so I told my husband, I was like, when I pray over my home, I'm like, the way that I envision it, I'm a visual learner, I'm like, but the way that I see it when I'm praying, I was like, it's like God is just putting a cloak over my home.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like a hedge of protection.
And if I'm driving, we always pray. I have friends that will call me and be like, hey, I'm about to hit the road, I'm gonna drive 4 or 5 hours, can you pray for me? Of course. Right. And that's another thing too, I'm in that part in my life where I'm really pushing to try to be obedient to the things that God is asking of me. And if someone calls and is like, hey, or, oh yeah, just pray for me. Nope, let's do it right now, because then I get busy. Life happens, right? So I try to take the initiative to do it in that moment. But my husband laughs, and I was like, okay, I have to tell you. And he's like, what? I'm like, when I pray, I was like, even if someone says, hey, can you pray for me? It's like, I pray, and in my heart and in my mind, I can see God saying, hey, they need backup, send somebody.
Right.
I need you to show up. He'll send an angel to show up. And I have seen how in family members' marriages, relationships, and things. I've seen how things shift, and I tell my husband, I'm like, it's like a movie in my head. Like, it sounds weird, but I'm like, that's the easiest way I can explain it. He's like, babe, it's because he's allowing you to see these things.
Right.
Not just anybody can understand it. Not just anybody can see it.
Right.
And so he was like, that's awesome. He's like, I've never would have thought of that, right?
No,
like,
yeah,
to see it that way.
That's beautiful. Like, it's truly like you are prophesizing. Like,
And that's what, and that's another thing is like, I tend to shy away because I'm like, who am I? Like, ain't nobody gonna want to listen to me. Like, you know,
girl, I'm listening to you
right. But that's what like my husband was telling me. He's like, babe, you have a worshiper's heart and you willingly serve.
Right.
He's like, and I didn't understand it until my nephew came into my life. And he goes, me do it. And like everything, he wants to do it. He wants to help. And I'm like, that's what it is. He joyfully wants to do something. He joyfully wants to just, I got it, I'll do it, you know? And he's like, babe, that's you.
That's what I was gonna say. You set the example. You're setting that bar for him. So I mean, that's something you should be proud of. And you know, and maybe that's where I'm listening is maybe that's your purpose.
And that's where
you know,
where I'm just like, and like I said, like I've been very blessed with to continue to meet new people. And that's another thing, like even when I was like, here, we should talk, you know, it was totally like, I told you I'm awkward, right? Like, but it just
not.
it puts me in a position, well, because you know, like my sister would be like, okay, you're coming on a little too strong or something,
I mean,
like,
that's sisters for you,
right? And I mean, her and I have a 10-year difference, right? So it's just like, it's one of those, and she's just like, no, like, but it's one of those that she's like, oh my gosh, you know, like she just kind of laughs, and I'm like, what? And it's just like, she just kind of hides and stuff. I'm just like, I'm sorry. And so that's why my husband's like, and like Tax will tell me, babe, you're being too loud sometimes. And I'm like, I'm sorry, you know, and he's like, you're fine. But that's the thing is like, I got shut down for so long. Like I have one of my nieces who's out in San Diego, and every time I hear her talk and every time I hear her talking to her friends, I'm like, she reminds me of me. Right. When I was just so full of life. And so I didn't have to worry about bills. I didn't, you know, like just being a kid.
Right.
And I was like, but if I trust in God that He will provide, that He will take care of everything and all, the more I lean to remembering that and actually holding on to it and believing it, the less I feel like an adult. Does that make sense? No, in the sense like I don't have to worry about it. Right. I get to, you know, and I'm very blessed because, like I said, I stay home. You know, if I do make a couple phone calls, it's, you know, that I'm blessed because I lived in California where everything's going 1,000 miles an hour. I used to sit in traffic one way for 3 hours just to get home.
Oof, couldn't do that.
Now I go down to the valley and I'm like, how long are we going to be here for? When are we going home?
No, and you just got through saying that, you know, your voice has been silenced for a long time.
Yes.
And I feel like listening to your story too, God is helping you to make your voice loud.
Yes.
You know, and that's a great thing. Like, I don't know, I love talking to you and I love hearing you, and it's I really hope that this truly does inspire somebody to know that they don't have to keep quiet. And
I have to say, because I kept telling my husband, and him and I talk, and then he'll be like, babe, some things you just keep between you and God. Like, you don't got to tell me everything. I'm like, but you're my best friend, right? Like, I want to share these things with you. And he'll be like, well, yeah, you're right. You know, and so, but I told him, I was like, I don't know what it is. I don't know why I feel this way. I was like, but I feel the urge to just be open about the things that I have gone through. Like I said, it's just sticking to the, you know, my chronic illnesses, like that's just one piece, right? And so to be able to now, like when you asked me, and he was like, he just gave me the look, like, babe, we just kind of laughed, right? I was like, I already know what you're saying to me. You don't even got to say it out loud. Like, we just kind of like.
And Andrea is another one that I really want to. I want to have a series with. I don't want to just stop with just her chronic illness. Like I found out as I'm talking with her that there's you know, there's multiple things that I don't know. I guess it's kind of like Shrek. We're all onions. You know, we have layers, and so I want to start peeling back these layers, and so I want to have her on in the future, but. I want to just ask you, if you could leave one truth with our listeners about God's faithfulness, what would it be?
if you look down, deep down, when you're really going through it, you're going to hear that scream. I've heard it where I refused to be consumed by what I was going through. And I knew that it wasn't meant for me, and that I had to reach out. And at that moment, just to be a little bit more specific, goes back. God reminded me. He's like, remember when I told you to walk on water?
Right.
And he was standing on water until he looked around and realized he was walking on water, and he took his eyes off of me and he fell into the water. And that's what he revealed to me. I had to stick my hand out and say, I need you to save me, because I can't save myself. And that's where he helped me and pulled me and was like, just stay close to me. And I'm like a kid. I run off a little bit. I'm like, no, hold on, come back, right? And then like I'll kind of, oh, it's okay, I'm okay, I got this. No, never mind, right? And like I just kind of try to just stay there, because like I said, I have my moments, and some of them are my own emotions, and some of them is because of medications that I'm going through that I can't control.
Right.
I can't control. It's out of my control. But again, that comes back to my mind. Remember what I said, keep your eyes on me. That's the biggest thing, is keep your eyes on me.
That's beautiful.
And that's where I'm at now.
All right. So I want to just thank Andrea for her time, and we thank you for listening. And I just wanted to say thanks for listening today, girlfriends. And before we go, I really want to pray over you. And so let's go ahead and get into it. Lord, for every woman listening who's tired, hurting, or carrying something silently, wrap her in your peace. Remind her she's seen, she's held, and she's never walking this alone. Give her strength for today and hope for tomorrow. Amen.
Amen.
I'll see you next episode on Girlfriends and Grace. Stay beautiful, stay blessed, and be the light.